Okay, so before we dive in, let me walk you through our agenda for today. So we'll start with an overview of CalFresh covering able-bodied adults without dependents, also known as ABOD time and limit rules. Next, the California Community Colleges Chancellor's Office will then touch on some key points on how the CCC system can support CalFresh recipients with meeting their work and community engagement requirement, including providing a CCC system overview, program to ABOT mapping, campus and student supports. Also, this session will cover examples of pathways for meeting the 20-hour working community engagement requirement, like short-term certificates, apprenticeships, work study, and community engagement coursework, as well as how CCCs are helping students to access public benefits. And lastly, we'll end with a Q&A session. As a reminder, please submit your questions in the Q&A box at any time during the presentation. So I'll go ahead and pass it over to Tanya from CDSS to provide an overview of the ABOT time limit rules. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Juliana. Hello, everyone. My name is Tanya Kaur. I'm a policy analyst with the CalFresh ABOT policy team. And next, we will talk about ABOT time limit rules. Next slide, please. To be considered an ABOT, the individual must be between the ages of 18 to 64, have no dependents, and not qualify for an exemption from the ABOT time limit. ABOT time limit rules, when in effect, require the individual to work or participate in a qualifying work activity for 20 hours per week, average monthly for a total of 80 hours per month, in order to receive CalFresh benefits beyond the 3-month time limit. Please note that ABOT eligibility is limited to 3 full countable months within a 36-month period. Next slide, please. Now, ABOTs meeting any of these criteria are exempt and therefore not subject to the time limit. This list has been updated due to the implementation of HR 1. An individual is exempt from ABOT if they are number 1, exempt from work registration except for the age criteria. Number 2, age under 18 or over 64. For verification, this information is already known to the county. Number 3, medically certified as physically or mentally unfit for work. Acceptable verification includes disability benefit proof, pending applications or information already in the case file, a case note stating that the person is unfit for work due to medical reasons is sufficient. If the condition is obvious, county observation is enough and no further verification is required. If the unfitness is not obvious, medical verification is required. This can be provided through the optional CF 887 form or a written or verbal statement from a licensed medical or mental health professional, such as a physician, nurse practitioner, dentist, or social worker. No new verification is required if the exemption is already confirmed in another accessible program file. Now, number 4, residing in a CalFresh household with a CalFresh household member under age 14. For verification, inclusion of a child under 14 in the same CalFresh household found in the application or recertification documents or verbal statement from the client is sufficient unless it's questionable. Number 5, pregnancy. Client statement is sufficient verification for this exemption unless questionable. Number 6, participating in an Office of Refugee Resettlement ORR training program. Verification of this exemption may include documentary evidence or a written statement from the ORR training program. An acceptable collateral contact may also act as verification. Number 7, and those who are Indian, Urban Indian, or California Indian, as defined in the Indian Healthcare Improvement Act. Client statement is sufficient verification for this exemption Additional verification is only required if the county deems the information received to be questionable. The county must exhaust all internal information before requesting verification from the individual. Now, an important note here for students is that they may be exempt under the CalFresh Work Registration exemption, which is enrolled in any recognized school, training program, or institution of higher education on at least a half-time basis. Students enrolled at least half-time in an institution of higher education must meet student eligibility requirements. This means that if an individual is exempt because of this reason, they do not need to meet the ABOD time limit rule. For this exemption, client statement is an acceptable verification unless questionable, then they may be proof of enrollment from school or collateral contact with the institution. Next slide, please. ABODs can satisfy the work and community engagement in a variety of ways. This can include employment, qualifying employment and training activities, WIOA programs under Section 236 of the Trade Act of 1974, community service or volunteer work, and workfare. Please note that CalFresh E&T comprises of several qualifying components for ABODs, including education. To satisfy the work and community engagement requirement, an ABOD must work 20 hours per week, average monthly, for a total of 80 hours per month, and most activities can be combined to reach the hourly requirement. And as a note, the hourly requirement for workfare is calculated differently, and other activities cannot be combined with workfare. Next slide, please. Satisfying the work and community engagement requirement through employment includes paid employment, self-employment, and in-kind work. Acceptable verification sources include, but are not limited to, paycheck stubs, employer statements, third-party employment and earnings verification systems, and collateral contacts. Self-employment hours may be verified through business records, written statements from individuals or organizations to which they provide service, or an acceptable collateral contact. If total hours worked in self-employment cannot be verified through documentary evidence or an acceptable collateral contact, the county may use the individual's self-employment income to calculate the total hours. To verify community service or volunteer work, the ABOD may complete either the optional CalFresh ABOD volunteer work hours verification form, which is known as a CF 888, or a similar verification form. The form must indicate the number of community service or volunteer hours completed and must be signed by a representative for whom the ABOD worked. The county may also accept the verbal statement of a representative for whom the ABOD worked. For participation in qualifying CalFresh employment and training components, WIOA programs under Section 236 of the Trade Act of 1974, and workfare. When not operated and supervised by the county, participation hours can be verified through program supervisor statements, third-party verification, collateral contacts, or any document showing the hours completed. For more information and other qualifying activities, please see our newly released ABOD Handbook version 3.0, which is the ACL 26-29. Next slide, please. Now, we will touch on community college opportunities to meet the CalFresh work requirements. Next slide, please. We have 4 speakers joining us today from the California Community College's Chancellor's Office. I will go ahead and hand it over to them to provide us an overview on how the CCC system can support CalFresh recipients with meeting their work and community engagement requirement. Next slide, please.
Good morning. My name is Mia Keeley. I'm a dean in student services for the California Community College's Chancellor's Office. I'm going to start with giving you a brief overview of our system. Next slide, please. So California's community colleges is actually the largest system of higher education in the nation. We have 115 colleges and 2.2 million students. We also have one online college, which brings our total to 116. It has always been the mission of the California Community Colleges to bring about economic mobility for our students. We are open access, and equity has always been a focus for us. So next slide, please. Just want to highlight some facts that I think will put in perspective the size of our system. If you're not from California, it's hard to grasp just how large the system is. But 70% of California community colleges students do come from diverse populations, much like those that you serve in your counties. 51% of California State University graduates started at a California community college, and 29% of UC graduates started with the California community colleges. We also have a great return on investment, with students seeing an average of 19.6% back on what they spend to earn their education with us. Nationwide, this means that 1 in 4 community college students in the nation attend a California community college. So next slide, please. We actually have what's called the vision for Vision 2030, which sets up goals for our system across the board. And these goals allow us all to be working towards the same set of metrics in order to better assist students and create higher success rates across our diverse student population. This allows us to continue to be open access and means that our colleges are set up in a way so that they are student ready, where everyone can succeed. Next slide, please. So this slide goes into our Vision 2030 a little more in depth. It's based in 3 goals, which are equity in success, access, and support for students. We also outline 6 different metrics and outcomes that the system is working towards as a whole, and it has 12 different strategic actions. Next slide. This is an important slide because this is outlining how and which student groups were focused on the most at the moment. And these are students that throughout history have seen larger equity gaps and economic gaps in their incomes, much like those populations that you serve. So we're focusing currently on closing equity gaps for veterans, for students that are justice involved or justice impacted, students with lower wages or lower incomes, and then foster youth and dual enrollment. And then just the idea of how do we create these pathways to bring all Californians into an educational path. Next slide, please. This all aligns with California's master plan for career education. We are the largest professional development and education pathway leader. Students earn a degree or certificate from a California community college, nearly double their earnings within 3 years. So this is one way that we contribute to closing these economic income gaps we're seeing across our state. 7 in 10 of California's nurses receive their training at a California community college, and 8 in 10 police officers receive their training at a California community colleges. Also, our new bachelor degrees programs are another good example of how we're closing these economic gaps across the state. Those degrees are regionally driven with strong earning potentials. So all of these things are working together to move the economy of California. And at this point, I'm going to transfer over to Allison Beer so she can talk about specific programs in our system.
Thank you, Mia. Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Allison Beer. I'm also a Dean for Student Services at the California Community College Chancellor's Office. I'm going to share more about how our programs can offer economic mobility for the students we're serving and the individuals you're serving in your counties. So as Mia mentioned, we offer many different types of programs at a community college. We have dual enrollment that can start with individuals when they're in high school. We have specific career training and certificate programs, as well as our traditional associate degree programs, and also community college baccalaureate degrees are expanding across the state. So there are many opportunities for students to engage in these variety of programs at a community college and meet their CalFresh work and community engagement requirements. Next slide, please. And as Mia mentioned, our programs do offer strong pathways to our other higher education partners in the state, notably to University of California and our Cal State universities, as well as our career education and job training programs help students become ready for specific jobs in their communities and increasing their earning potential. Next slide, please. So we wanted to share some data specifically about students participating in our programs. This slide is about students who have participated in a career and technical education program in the state. That can include, short-term job training programs or certificates. It can also include certain associate degrees and bachelor degree programs that are considered CTE programs. So out of our 2.2 million students, about half of those individuals are participating in a CTE program. And as I'll highlight at the bottom, this can lead to many different types of educational awards, including associate's degrees, bachelor's degrees, and other certificates, and opportunities for educational completion. Next slide, please. And this slide is in regards to economic mobility for all of our students across the system. The majority of our students are completing with a job closely related to their field of study, 70%. About half of our students are obtaining a living wage after completion of their program. And you can see our data for our median earnings change for our students, which did have a dip in some of those post-COVID years. This data has a little bit of a lag, but we are seeing that tick back up post the COVID pandemic. Next slide, please. A little bit more on economic impact. So for every dollar that a student invests into their education, they receive $13 back in earnings. Our system contributes to $173 billion in added income for individuals across the state and has supported 1.7 million jobs. And for every dollar of public taxpayer investments, the public receives back $1.60 in return. So community college really is a place for students to participate in education, benefit economically, and as well as their economic gains for our entire state. Next slide, please. So how can students enroll in community college? Our platform for enrollment is currently called CCC Apply. There's a link here in the slide deck that you can access. This is the starting point for all 116 colleges in our system. Students can start their application to be able to attend traditional in-person classes as well as hybrid modalities where they're in person and online, or can complete education program completely online. We also have a website called I Can Go to College, which is our outreach hub for community colleges. This can help serve you in your roles as the counties as well. So you can find out more information to help provide to people about community colleges as a resource, financial aid, and other support programs that are offered at our campuses. You can also order materials from ICANN if you want to keep those in your office locally, and that way you have them to share with individuals who you're working with. Next slide, please. Hey, so just to reiterate some of the information that's already been shared and put it into some terminology that you might hear if you're working with a community college partner. So enrollment, as it's been discussed, enrollment in an education or job training can help meet those ABOD work and community engagement requirements. They can enroll half-time or more and then meet the student exemption. Half-time or more is typically considered 6 units or more at most of our community colleges, or equivalent to 20 hours per week. Or they can participate in a combination of education and other work and community engagement activities. So if we have an individual who is less than half-time, maybe they're only enrolled in one class, that can still count towards their overall work and community engagement requirements. So currently we have almost 11,000 community college programs that are approved as local programs that increase eligibility, and that number has been increasing. And then also June 1st, all of our associate degrees and bachelor's degrees will automatically be classified as LPIs per CDSS's new guidance. And so there are lots of opportunities for community colleges to support individuals in their education and work requirements. Okay, and now I'm going to pass it over to my colleague Cherie, who's going to share about some specific educational and career pathway programs that we offer in our system.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cherie Thornton, Dean of Workforce and Economic Development, the Chancellor's Office. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about the opportunity for participation in a variety of workforce and educational programs. Next slide, please. So California Community College already has workforce and educational infrastructure that can support the participation requirements, as Allison mentioned. And community colleges are uniquely positioned because many of the programs already include structured instructional hours, labs, clinicals, workforce connected activities such as apprenticeships or internships or work-based experience that can be clearly quantified and documented. And so this part of the presentation is about aligning educational pathways and workforce participation goals. And again, as Allison and Mia both mentioned, our system goal is to help students move towards economic mobility. And in many cases, students who are participating in our programs, as Allison mentioned, are already meeting or exceeding the 20-hour per week expectation through a combination of lecture, lab, and field-based instruction. Next slide, please. I'm going to talk to you today about some of the types of programs that align. And what I'm sharing with you today are not passive educational experiences. Many of our workforce programs, the students are actively engaged in hands-on work-based training that will lead directly to in-demand, high-paying job. And as we probably all know in this room, the healthcare pathways are one of the clearest examples because they combine classroom instruction with direct workforce preparation. The types of programs listed on this slide typically feature a high contact hour requirement. They're structured across multiple days of the week with scheduled lab hours and rotations that can contribute also to weekly participation totals. Healthcare pathways across California are, I think, really important because these are high-need occupations, and there are well-documented workforce shortages across many of these fields, such as nursing, EMT, medical assisting, phlebotomy, and other allied health pathways. Next slide, please. Here's an example of one healthcare pathway. I think EMT is a strong example because the pathway is highly structured and it's very hands-on. Students would be expected over the course of the degree pathway to complete 216 classroom hours with a minimum of an additional 24 hours of lab and field internships. And the students move progressively through lecture instruction, simulation activities, skills labs, field participation, and then there also can be internships or apprenticeships that complement this pathway. The learning environment in the EMT pathway mirrors real workforce participation, and it provides a very tangible example of employment connected training. And we're seeing like 90 to 95% placement rates from students who complete an EMT pathway. And that's not unusual in many of the healthcare fields. Next slide, please. Another area in CTE that is high demand and high wage is in the skilled trades and manufacturing. Our skilled trades programs are similarly workforce centered by design. HVAC, welding, apprenticeship pathways, they all combine very technical instruction with lab and employer connected learning. Again, we have work-based learning opportunities, apprenticeship pathways, small stackable credentials that can build over time to an advanced degree. Again, these programs in skilled trades and manufacturing are intentionally built around applied skills and are designed for direct workforce entry. Here's an example of one of the programs at our college. Next slide, please. In HVAC, this is a program at Sacramento City College. Shout out to anybody from Sacramento here in the room. The HVAC program is a strong illustration of integrated workforce preparation. So students are learning technical systems, then they move into hands-on labs. They're building practical competencies through applied instruction. The HVAC entry-level certificate is 162 hours with 54 hours of lab and then additional field internships. And again, these jobs or these pathways lead to in-demand jobs. Next slide, please. We have a lot of programs that, are higher unit pathways. The two that I just spoke about, EMT and the HVAC, are kind of small, stackable credentials that can lead to more advanced training in a field. But it's a good place for students to start off to see if they're interested and maybe make a bridge into a high-paying job right away. For other folks, community embedded or higher unit pathways may be a better choice. And some of these pathways may look traditional at first glance, but they do involve significant workforce participation activities. Programs like early childhood education, paralegal studies, medical assisting, these can be kind of long-term career pathways. Early childhood education, includes an entry-level work into a teacher preparation pipeline. And the coursework would include things like classroom observations and community engagement activities, field work, practicum experiences. Again, in each one of these categories, there's structured, supervised, and workforce-connected educational experiences. Let me dive just a little deeper into early childhood education example. Next slide, please. I think ECE is particularly interesting because it has a broad community impact. And again, it's an entry point into teacher candidacy. And combined with some of our teacher apprenticeships, or if somebody is working in a school as maybe as a volunteer, this can be a nice complement to that pathway. As again, These are longer pathways, but can be combined with apprenticeships or can be combined with internships in the schools. Next slide, please. One of the encouraging pieces here is that our colleges already maintain many of the systems needed for documentation and verification. And as Allison mentioned previously, enrollment in any of these programs as a part-time student, 6 units or most classes are typically 3 units. So that would be 2 classes a semester should meet the requirement for the participation. And again, our colleges are good at enrollment tracking. We keep, if a student is engaged in an apprenticeship pathway, we have strong apprenticeship records. We have strong attendance systems, and faculty are used to doing sign-offs. So that exists in many forms across our system. And I think I just want to mention one final pathway, which I didn't put a slide in here, but several of our campuses have non-credit CTE pathways, which are free for students. So for example, at our North Orange Continuing Education College in Southern California, they offer a wide range of tuition-free non-credit programs that are designed for adults seeking skill building or career advancement, literacy improvement, and preparation for higher education courses. So students, if they're a little hesitant to start in a credit pathway, some of our non-credit programs also have non-credit to credit links. So students can start in a non-credit program and then make their bridge into small stackable credentials in credit pathways. And I think that's it from my slide. But do please encourage your students to participate in educational opportunities at California community colleges. We are all about reducing barriers and supporting meaningful pathways into the workforce. And thank you for your time. I'll pass it on to my colleague, Colleen.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. My name is Colleen Ganley, and I'm part of a small team at the Chancellor's office that works with all of the colleges on offering basic needs services. We can go to the next slide, please. Today, we wanted to highlight a really exciting program called Fresh Success. This project is led by the Foundation for California Community Colleges, our auxiliary, in partnership with counties, colleges, and local community-based organizations to provide CalFresh employment and training services, otherwise known as CalFresh ENT. This is a unique program. California is one of the very few states in the country that has college-based ENT services, so it's quite innovative and pretty exciting. It's grown over the last 10 years. This program leverages state investments to draw down matching federal funds, and to date, the program has served over 6,000 participants and drawn down nearly $17 million in federal funds. Next slide, please. Individual Fresh Success providers each determine the types of services that they're going to offer, though the overarching goal is to provide students and non-students to gain in-demand career skills that expand and improve their employment opportunities, providing a pathway towards economic mobility. And you can see there's a wide variety of services listed on this slide. Again, the individual providers determine exactly what they offer. Next slide, please. There are currently 37 Fresh Success providers throughout the state, with an additional 19 coming on board. This growth is incredible and it's exciting. And we have a little bit of information at the end towards where there's more opportunities for growth. The application to participate in the program is currently open, and we have the application linked here on this slide. Next slide, please. These are the colleges, the community colleges that are currently offering the program. And you guys will all get these slides, so you'll have a reference of where the Fresh Success is operating. And then we can go to the next slide. These are the colleges that are soon to be coming on board. And we will put into the chat for additional information about the Fresh Success Program. We'll make sure that the chat includes a link directly to the program so you can ask questions if you're interested. Next slide. And this is just an overlay of the counties that are currently hosting Fresh Success Partners. Those are the folks highlighted in green. Folks highlighted in gray are counties that offer ENT but have not started offering Fresh Success. So it's just an opportunity for growth for either counties or colleges or community-based organizations that might be interested in starting up a program. Next slide, please. So within the community college system, we have a multitude of student support programs. And so we can go to the next slide. I'm going to start off with an area that's near and dear to my heart. Starting in 2022, the state legislature began allocating funds for community colleges to establish basic needs centers and to hire staff to offer basic needs services. And the overarching goal was to provide a centralized one-stop shop where students can receive both internal and external basic needs services. We can go to the next slide, please. And this is a fun graphic I like sharing. It's just providing an overview of the various services that students can access through the basic needs centers. Campuses have local flexibility, though most provide support with public benefit access, food security services, direct aid, and referrals to health and mental health services. And I'll talk a little bit more about partnerships in a few slides. Next slide, please. In 2024, the colleges served 140,000 unique students in the basic needs centers, and we think that's a pretty conservative reporting number. The outcome data you can see for the students is pretty encouraging, with a 67% course completion rate and a 21% degree or certificate attainment rate, and that's 5% higher than the general student body. So this is very validating that these services are helping students to make it through their educational plans. Next slide, please. Many of the colleges work in tandem with other campus support programs, including financial aid and the health centers, to maximize what students can receive. However, for many students, the total cost of attendance is still very challenging. Basic Needs, one of the core services, Basic Needs staff typically help students with their CalFresh application, which includes helping them to identify a student exemption that they might qualify for, and then assisting them to gather and submit any required documentation with their CalFresh application. Moving forward, it's highly likely that the basic needs staff are going to be supporting students who may be subject to ABOD work requirements in terms of making sure that they calculate how many hours they're spending in their courses. Next slide, please. And this is a slide about partnership. Currently, we have 84 of the colleges have established partnerships either with their county or with local community-based organizations to really maximize supports. Many of the colleges are already working directly with their county CalFresh teams on enrollment support. So we extend a big thank you to all of the county folks who are already working with the colleges to help make sure that the students get these really important benefits. Next slide, please. In addition to the basic needs centers and some of the other programs that we've talked about, we have a number of support programs, including system-wide financial aid that's available, a statewide CalWorks program that works with CalWorks recipients. We have support programs for various student groups, including veterans, foster youth, justice impacted. We're inviting you to share this information with your clients who might be interested in going to college or going back to college. There's a ton of wonderful opportunities for people to find pathways to better jobs and to higher incomes. Next slide, please. We're providing our contact information here. If anyone has any follow-up questions to anything that we've presented today, or information as any part of this presentation, we invite you to reach out, and we're excited to hear from you. And at this time, I will pass the mic back to our CDSS partners to close us out today. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much, Colleen. So we're gonna go ahead and move to the Q&A. Before we get started, I see that we have a lot of questions of people asking for if they will receive a recording of this webinar or if they can receive a copy of the slides presented today. And everyone who attended today will be receiving a copy of the slides and the recording as well. We will also be posting the materials at our CDSS page, at the ABOT resources webpage, and you'll be able to see there as well, included materials from previous webinars. Okay, so let's go ahead and move to the Q&A. So I see that we answered all questions. I see one question says, what about those with dependents 14 or older? Our answer is those with a dependent ages 14 or older will need to be assessed for other ABOT time limit exemptions in order to be exempt from the ABOT time limit. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to add it to the Q&A box. I see another question here. Are counties liable for
Their county of residence? And we can follow up with the Fresh Success Program. It's my understanding that it is a county-based program and that the majority of folks that are participating are living in that county. But we can definitely follow up with an answer to that question.
Hi, this is Sarah Turner with the CalFresh ENT program. I just wanted to verify that, yes, a person that is participating in the Fresh Success program would have to be in the county that offers the ENT program as the administrator. Okay, then the next question, if the Fresh Success provider for CFED is not based in a community college, does the county need to verify the hours if it meets the ABOT hours, as the county would need to verify?
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you everyone for all the great questions. It's 11:55. I'll go ahead and pass it over to Tanya so she can provide some resources.
Thank you, Juliana. We have a list of resources that we will be sharing with you all in just a moment. As a reminder, you will all be receiving a copy of the recording and the presentation materials after the webinar today. Next slide, please. We have included some ABOT time limit resources here for your reference. These resources contain more detail about the information shared with you all today. So please feel free to review these resources. Now, Becky will provide next steps and close out today's webinar. Next slide, please.
All right, thank you, everybody. So thank you very much to the California Community Colleges team for pulling together really great information about the way their programs help to provide opportunities for CalFresh recipients to meet their community engagement requirement hours. And thanks to all of the attendees that we have today. I think we were up to about 250 at one point. Thank you to the team for answering all the great questions that came in as well. I think there's about over 20 questions in the Q&A that the team answered in writing. So thanks to everybody for your great engagement and questions. So a reminder, as we shared at the beginning, that our next webinar is part 2 of our guest webinar series with the California Community Colleges. So, excuse me. That will be on July 29th. We have a Zoom registration link already. So maybe somebody from our team can pop that link into the chat so that it's easily clickable for everybody. And then I will also just make a plug. We are on the hunt for guest presenters for this webinar series. So if you work at an organization or represent an organization that provides work and community engagement opportunities locally, and you'd like to have an opportunity to share those offerings to make sure that people in other parts of the state or in your county know about those offerings, please reach out to us. I think our email address is on the next slide. So if we could go to that. Please reach out. We'd love to hear from you. We want to keep this webinar series going with guest speakers who have good information to offer. So we're looking forward to continuing the series and for our next one in July as well. So again, just wrapping up by saying thank you to everybody. We appreciate your participation today, and we'll see you in July.